Welcome to the Disconnection Podcast. My name is Ben Harmati. I'm here with Kyle Nielsen, and we're your hosts for today's show. During this episode at Disconnection, we'll be speaking to Leonard Katsel. So, Leonard, glad to have you here. Please introduce yourself to the audience and let everybody know what you're doing, what you're into, and who you are.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leonard Katsel. I'm a photographer, and I dabble in embroidery and tattooing, as well as illustration.
Very awesome. We've known Leonard for quite a few years now. You know, he's from a town over from us and met us through some mutual friends, and we've been rocking ever since. Leonard, I want to know about the beginning of your journey. I know you're a very creative person. You're a photographer. You seem to be around high fashion often. It seems to be that you like to have yourself very styled. Please tell me the origins of that.
I guess it starts with music mostly. My dad would always play The Doors and Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd.
The best.
And that was definitely a mind opener from a very early age. I mean, you know, that whole generation kind of opens you up to different things and digging in farther and farther, exploring blues and punk, metal, stuff like that. And the whole creative scene, and just keep exploring, going farther into it and stuff. And
Do you play any instruments yourself?
Yeah, I started playing guitar. I've always been a big fan. I never could sing. I never really wanted to play drums. Drums were too loud, but guitar just seemed like right in the right spot. I was big fans of Jimmy Page and Jimi Hendrix and stuff like that, so it's right in my alley.
All right, that's awesome. Do you ever have any ambitions to play in a band?
I did, but it was always hard to find the exact type of people that were doing what I was interested in, like early rock and roll and blues and stuff. People were more modernizing things, where I just wanted to just cover old songs. So when the time comes about, almost. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, have you ever played with Ori?
I don't think I have. I don't think I ever have played with Ori. I played with Ben a couple of times.
Yeah, we did a little bit of jamming before. I know me and Leonard, we actually saw Megadeth and Suicidal Tendencies together. That was just a few months back now. Literally had to scalp some tickets last second at the show. That was actually hilarious. We thought our friend, right, she had given us tickets and was like, here, you guys got free tickets to this show. And we freaking get to the ticket booth and they're like, yeah, sorry, this was for a contest a day ago.
Oh my
They're not even tickets. Whatever. We made it inside. We got GA.
Yeah, someone was giving out we got 2 free tickets.
Right. We lucked out. We were in line.
We got 2 free tickets, and then we had to scalp one for, I don't know, it was like $20-$40. The guy gave it to us next to nothing. And then we got in, and then we kind of shimmied our way to the ground floor during the opening acts, because it wasn't packed at all, and I guess the security guard was distracted. And we ended up going down there, and we had a couple joints, and
that was great.
That was the beginning of the night.
The little slip and slide action there. Yeah, that was
really well.
That was a good time. I hope to redo another Megadeth concert
I know,
with you, Leonard.
We just found out we missed the second time around. Right?
Yeah, them and Scorpions are playing right now. They're freaking awesome. Man.
Right now, this past weekend, or?
No, I think that it was literally a month ago.
Okay, that's not too bad.
So they
were usually around this time around here.
Yeah.
You happen to have any Megadeth tattoos?
I don't, but I was just working on a Megadeth illustration, so.
Just
cool.
a drawing.
Just a drawing right now, and we'll see who wants one.
Oh, right on.
I do more metal. And
are you doing Vic Rattlehead sort of?
I did the the Rust in Peace guy. I did the head.
So that's his name's Vic Rattlehead.
Vic Rattlehead. Okay.
He's got, what do you call it?
Visors or something?
It's steel visors welded to his eyes. He's got metal clasps welded to his ears. So he's got the Speak No Evil, Hear No Evil.
Oh, okay.
And
See No Evil?
See No Evil, exactly. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, his mouth is also clasped. There's a song called Skull Beneath the Skin on the first album where it's the story of Vic Rattlehead. And
really?
tells you,
I gotta look at more.
You gotta check that tune out. It's a good one.
Huh.
And it gives you eyes. Face is all fucked up.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your tattooing? You're big into stick and poke right now, right?
Yeah, so it kind of branched out of embroidery and drawing. So I've always been interested in it, and I always had a hard time finding a good tattoo artist to do the things that I've always wanted to do, and it would irritate me, and I'm sure it'd irritate them too if I want to make slight changes and stuff like that, because it's obnoxious to make those small little
having to redo the entire piece.
Exactly, and and what was nice about tattooing is a whole nother experience out of any art form I've ever done, because it's a lot of like layers to it. So there's like a rough drawing, then you got to retrace it, and there's a lot of steps involved before you even get to the skin. And once you get to the skin, it's a total gamble, because everyone's skin is different. You don't know how it's going to heal, how it's going to go in. So it was similar to embroidering, because you're using a needle and stuff like that. And I've only been doing hand poking for now. And it's just, people have been super excited about it. Like,
I see you all over social media with
I mean, people are just
tattoos,
like really hyped on it and always
Loving
want to get more from me and stuff like that. And
I mean,
like,
tattoos in general are super addictive. Once you
super
have
addictive.
one,
People love them.
You
Like,
kind of want another. There's no helping it.
it's crazy, because people are more willing to spend money on tattooing than like a print or a photograph or something like that.
For sure.
For sure.
It's pretty mind-boggling.
You think you found your venue there for at least?
Found a venue. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
still interested in doing things like photography, embroidery,
Sure.
but if people want tattoos, I'm not afraid to give it to them, you know?
What
Hell
was the
yeah.
first tattoo that you ever got?
That I ever got, I got a tea kettle on my arm that I got burned when I was 1 year old. I burned myself, actually. I had pulled the curtain down and tea kettle fell on my arm.
Oh.
Hot water burned. I think they're third degree. I really don't remember. It was one. But it
It's
must
a
have
pretty
been third
gnarly
degree
scar.
burns.
I mean,
yeah.
you could
It used to
see.
be my whole forearm. Now it's just on my elbow.
You really grew into it, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it grew into it for sure. And I got a tea kettle for its commemoration. I just thought
Wow.
That's
to commemorate
Yeah.
it.
cool. But you know what I was gonna ask? So you didn't go to tattoo school, like you
No.
didn't get any formal training. So who'd you give your first tattoo to, and how the fuck did they let you give them a tattoo?
So I gave it to my best friend Christian, and basically I would just try to do as much research as possible, a lot of YouTubing and just like reading.
You YouTube like instructional videos on it?
Yeah, I mean there wasn't like much on it. I mean, it was mostly with machine-based stuff. No one really like explained stick and poking. A couple people did, but it wasn't like too helpful. It was more about like these are the basics, and like you got to go out and like just do it and find out on your own.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
kind of how it goes about.
Yeah, you're gonna make some mistakes. I remember when I
Yeah.
first ever tattooed someone.
Uh-huh.
It was while I was in the Marine Corps, and I tattooed
Really?
my friend in the barracks because I had that tattoo gun for a while. It was handed
I didn't
down to
know that.
me. Yeah, it was handed down to me, and he showed me how to set it up and how to do it, and then I just experimented, tattooed a bunch of my friends,
Okay.
and then they were like, I remember specifically this one night, they were like, "So you're gonna tattoo yourself?" And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, that's what they all say.
yeah, well, like I guess I have to now, right? We're all here."
Yeah.
So I ended up tattooing my thigh.
What'd you do?
It was just a simple design, almost like a flower design,
Uh-huh.
but doesn't look like a flower. It's
Right.
not that great. Let me tell you.
you know, you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the only tattoo I've ever had that didn't peel.
Really?
Yeah. I felt like
Interesting.
because I could feel how it was going on to me, I was a
Uh-huh.
bit more careful about it. you
Yeah,
know?
that's what's good about tattooing on yourself for sure. What's nice about stick and pokes is it actually heals a lot quicker than machines, I've noticed.
Really?
It's a quicker healing process because it doesn't tear the skin as much. And I've noticed like the ink stays in really nicely, especially like I did on my finger. And those are like kind of risky because they can fade out. And
Right.
I've got a couple machine ones too. And those took a lot longer for healing and stuff like that. But
How long did the stick and poke on your finger last?
It was
Or
really small.
Heal.
Oh, heal. It was a little bit longer than usual, so it was like a bit of like a week
Mhm.
versus like usually anyone else on the skin, it's like a couple days,
Yeah.
a little less than a week. And I just got this one on my finger, and it's been like a couple weeks and still not fully healed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Who did that one?
I got this done in Florida.
Nice.
Old Buddha symbol for
Very
enlightenment.
Right. I remember that you're into some Buddhism. Is that like, do you consider that a religion, or you find the studies? just pretty
I mean, some
interesting,
people consider it a religion. I mean, I consider it like a platform of like starting your own philosophy or religion for yourself, kind of. He like most religions, like Jesus and Muhammad with Islam and Christianity,
Mhm.
they all specify not to worship them,
Mm.
not to depict images of them. And the Buddha said the same thing. So people do worship him, but it's more about reading his teachings and applying it to your own life. And he even says, like, you know, you don't have to believe in what I'm telling you, and, you know, it's all for yourself. If you believe it, great. If you don't, you know, find something that you do believe in. So it's a nice platform of finding peace and balance in life.
What was the initiation for your interest in Buddhism? Was there like a culminating event in your life?
Something, I don't know, something just like always drawn me to it. Just like, I've never met an angry Buddhist. I never met like, you know,
A nice way to describe it.
I've never met like some terrorist that was like affiliated with Buddhism or anything like that, you know. So I kind of just explored it, and like I said, the music that he listened to with like the whole '60s generation, I've noticed that like that it was a big spring in Buddhism around that time and spirituality. So I
Sure.
thought I'd like at least read into it. It all kind of stemmed out of meditation and
Was that like George Harrison sort of stuff?
yeah, like George Harrison was part of it. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, like there's a whole genre that sprung out around that time, and I was just curious about it, and then the more and more I read into it, the more I got fascinated into it and drawn in.
Were you raised with a particular religion?
Judaism, and I didn't like it at all.
You're
from a
Jewish?
very-
You're
I
Jew-
guess.
I
Your last
literally had
name,
no
yeah,
idea.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
have guessed, yeah.
Yeah,
Did you have a
my
bar mitzvah?
Yep, in
Wow.
Curacao in the Caribbean. It was the
Holy
first
shit.
synagogue in the Western Hemisphere.
A very contemporary bar mitzvah.
Wow.
Not bad.
It was really cool actually
Yeah.
because the floors were still sand, and they had like
Awesome.
Torahs from like 1600s.
Wow.
They're like practically impossible to read. The ink was like fading and stuff. But
That's kind of badass.
as I'm
Yeah.
sure you know,
Yeah.
you gotta like memorize it. So
Yeah, it's a
The
almost
worst.
like a song that you
Mhm.
memorize.
Yeah. I speak Hebrew
with the
fluently
crackling
in,
voices
yeah,
of a
Yeah.
teenage boy. The puberty.
So are both your parents Jewish?
Both my parents are Jewish. My dad's a little less religious. He's more he's a scientist, so like he doesn't really like believe too much in religion. Mom's getting more and more religious as the years go by, I've noticed.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah.
Interesting, yeah.
What was it that you disliked about Judaism? Because I grew up in a household where mom is Jewish, dad is Mormon. So
Okay,
for me, I'm
interesting.
totally interested in Buddhism, Taoism, spirituality in general.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't believe in organized religion. But where did, from you, because both your parents are the same religion,
hmm
where did it come from you that you were like, nah, I don't really like Judaism?
So from like the very beginning, I have very fond memories. Well, not fond memories, but I have memories of being in temple during holidays and stuff like that, and just could not stand. Like I had ADD and ADHD as a young child, just like a lot of energy, and to sit in temple and listen to that like preaching music and following strict guidelines and then not getting answers in terms of like how is God real and just like religious
Mhm.
questions that kind of couldn't have been answered. You're not supposed to question those things. And even like holidays like Passover, you know, to not eat bread, especially something that I love so much. And like I'm obsessed with pizza. Like it's one of my favorite foods out there, and just like most like bread type oriented foods and fasting, stuff like that. It seemed just like a depressing religion that didn't really like inspire high hopes and would do what you really wanted to do, versus Buddhism and Taoism, you know, give you a free platform of how to live a good, happy life and find your purpose and place in life.
Yeah.
Did you feel that your journey into, first of all, did your rock music influences come from your parents? Like,
From my dad. My mom mostly likes like Hebrew music, like old,
Really?
yeah, really old.
She
like,
happened to be,
some Spanish,
Orthodox?
French.
yeah,
what
is
you were
she
looking for?
Orthodox?
She's not Orthodox, but I think like
Or
deep down she
Hasidic?
kind of wishes she was, you know.
Mhm.
Okay. Wishes she
Um,
was.
Interesting.
But she, you know, she practices like Shabbos and Shabbat and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and says her prayers
wow, I
on
didn't know
Friday.
you were such a
So
Jewish
she's
family.
not like super religious. Like she still
Uh-huh.
watches TV on the weekends and
Is
stuff
Right.
like
it
that.
aimed towards a more traditional standpoint?
Yeah, like for her for sure, but
Because that's
not
what
for
my
the rest of
mom
the
is. You
family.
know, she's like almost, we're doing this because it's our heritage and we don't want to forget.
Yeah.
Is that kind of the same?
So I think a lot of those things stem out of the Holocaust
Mhm.
with Jews, because they really want to like protect their culture and stuff like that. They don't want it to diminish, especially when it came so close to
Sure.
during World War II.
dissolving completely. Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely stems from that. I mean, she has so much sympathy for Holocaust survivors and stuff like that.
Do you have grandparents
I haven't.
who are Holocaust
So my
survivors?
grandpa was really young around that time, and I think he was 3 years old. I know most of his family went off to concentration camps, and him and his brother managed to go to Russia.
Wow.
They somehow fled to Russia, and his sister, who's my great aunt, she was in concentration camp until 18, until the Russian forces
my
liberated them.
Jesus.
God.
And they were separated for like, I think like 30, 40 years or
Oh
something,
my
something
God.
crazy like that. Like they didn't see each other until the 90s in Russia,
Wow.
or 80s. She came to visit, and through like some program I guess they had, and yeah, they had to. I think they met in Moscow or something like that. And Jews weren't really allowed in Moscow or
Right.
St. Petersburg. They're kind of like ostracized. They're kind of like second-class citizens.
Interesting.
Kind of like how African Americans were in America.
I think there was, if I remember correctly, that the Jews were treated like gypsies in Russia at that time. It was something like that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, second class citizens. Like my grandpa was pretty high up. I mean, everything was like, you worked for governments in Russia, so he was pretty high up, like in a managerial position.
Yeah.
But he was in Siberia. He wasn't allowed to be in Moscow because he was Jewish and stuff like that. So he probably would have had a better living if he wasn't Jewish.
Okay.
So there's like situations like that. But yeah, I mean, especially if you grow up in like, communist Russia, I'm sure you have a different mentality on life.
Yeah. Completely
Yeah,
different
sure.
culture in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
Especially like that, they don't speak too fondly of Jews, so you definitely want to like hold on to that culture, which I understand.
It's
just
a
not
certain
for me.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that it puts a certain, I don't want to say chip on your shoulder, but it gives you, something to grow up with.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, I still love bagels, still love lox. Culturally speaking, on those types of situations,
Yeah.
I'm all about it. Comedy, like movies, like Jewish comedians and actors and stuff like that. I'm all for that. It's just like when it comes to strict religious practices, I'm not too big on.
So how many years has it been that you've been studying Buddhism
Buddhism,
or been meditating?
3 years, a little over 3 years now.
Are you meditating daily?
Every day, yeah. I used to do it a lot more than I do now. Yeah, I started off like 5 hours a day or something. It started off 10 minutes. Started off with 10 minutes, and it grew to 5 hours a day, and then it shrunk down to just like an hour or two.
So you're telling me
and
for
night.
5 hours a day, in your,
Not sitting down for 5 hours, but like in increments and stuff like that.
explain to me, and I know you do photography and your tattoos, and what's a work life day look for you, and how are you able to fit 5 hours of meditation?
Yeah,
between
so
a day like
I would
that?
wake up in the morning, brush my teeth, and meditate an hour, and then breakfast, and then go out, either draw, take photos, or just read and like study whatever I can in terms of like Buddhism or drawing or art, whatever I'm interested in really. And my break would be a meditation, or while I'd be cooking dinner, cooking lunch or something like that. If it's in the oven, meditate, for an hour while food's getting ready. Just like, nice little hour-long breaks.
Wow.
From day to day.
That's awesome.
Say you're a very motivated and dedicated individual. I mean, that's a pretty.
It kind of restores like good feelings. So like it comes to a point where you kind of want to do it.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to a point you don't want to do it, I don't know. It's just kind of like you're interested in it and you want to see like how far you can take it. You know what I mean?
That's an awesome outlook on that.
Yeah. Have you ever felt a peak on your meditation in the sense of, I don't meditate 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But
It's
while
not
in
necessary.
meditation where you just literally lose your sense of self?
Yeah. I mean, like you just kind of like you get like nice tingling sensations, I would put it, I guess. And then like your thoughts, like you read your thoughts, whatever comes, because you start to realize that like how many thoughts you have a day, and like the point of meditation is to calm those thoughts, and they slowly start to recede. But you start to find out what your thoughts are, what is coming through your mind, and what you're focusing on.
View them almost more objectively.
From a non-objective perspective is the whole point. Is
Okay.
you're not supposed to like get into like the arguments of your mind and stuff like that. You're just supposed to see like what is coming up in your mind. So just like thinking like, okay, pizza's on my mind. That maybe I'm hungry or something like that. Or if you're angry, what is making me angry? Like you're not supposed to like dwell into it. You're just supposed to like
Take note of it.
take note of it. Exactly.
That's very interesting. So you're kind of finding yourself in these hour sessions of meditation. I know I call that the 5 minutes before I fall asleep thoughts is what that sounds like.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? When all those things are just coming to you. I guess if you don't meditate. So now my question actually, when you meditate and then before you go to bed, are you still getting any thoughts that are keeping you up at night, or now that these thoughts are completely...
I mean, I definitely sleep
receding?
nicer. I don't know. I mean, I know when you dream like all throughout the night and stuff like that. You're actually
Right.
more active sleeping than you are awake, if I'm not mistaken.
I think-
mentally,
I think
mentally, I think your brain works even harder when you sleep. from what
I
I've
think
been
it might
told.
be watching TV. I don't think
No,
awake.
Like
I
dream
think
states,
something
are
about
like
dreams,
REM
but I don't
cycles
wanna-
and stuff
Yes,
like that. It
it-
works twice as fast or something.
In the cycle,
Yeah.
like when you're at the peak of the cycle, sure. But I don't
Right.
think throughout sleeping, like all of sleep, that your brain is more active. I think it is throughout the day. But during that cycle, when
Mhm.
it's hitting its peak point, yes, there's omega waves going off in your brain, and your brain is completely active, and you're going,
Mhm.
oh my God, if you had a CT scan or whatever of it, you'd be like, whoa, like that's pretty crazy.
Right.
That person's thinking right
So
now.
I think with meditation, it's actually the complete opposite, where it's like it actually starts to slow down, and there are like some activities that go on, but it's like it's different from REM cycles, from what I'm been told.
Okay, I'm going to
Understand.
backtrack a little bit on that. Omega waves are released during meditation. Beta waves are released during REM cycle. I think that's what it is.
Okay,
Let's have
so
someone fact check us while they listen to this. Why don't you?
I know there's like delta waves, alpha waves, beta waves, and which can be released during meditation and stuff like that. I could be wrong as
Yeah.
well, but that's from what I've read.
We're
What
not
I
experts
understand.
on this. Anybody?
I'm not an
Definitely-
expert,
definitely
but
not.
I'm just giving.
I heard that DMT
whatever.
comes out when you sleep. That's what
Ah,
they tell
shit.
me.
DMT comes out when you meditate, when you're born, when you die.
Really?
Yeah,
When you're born?
yeah, insane amounts come out when you're born and when you die. It releases from your brain.
You
Tripping out
leave
the womb?
Yeah, leave your
Yeah,
mother's
which is
warm.
kind of interesting with the whole
body.
ayahuasca and DMT trips and stuff like that.
Have you before?
I haven't. I've been very interested in wanting to do it. Have you guys done it?
Yeah, I
Not me.
I
Not you.
recently
What
did
was your
DMT for the
experience?
first time. It was quite spectacular.
Because
I
everyone
feel-
has a different experience from it, told, but they're quite similar.
Yeah, I mean, it was a trip.
I'm sure.
Literally and figuratively.
But
And
it's a natural ingredient that occurs in your body. It's in
Absolutely.
everything, plants.
Yeah, it happened
fuck
very
do they
quickly.
extract
It was
that?
about 6 minutes. I closed my eyes and I was transported to another place. And it's not like
You smoke it?
we did. Yeah, we smoked it. I don't think I left my body completely. I still felt very connected to my body.
Uh-huh.
So some people would call that a non-breakthrough. I wasn't fully there.
Right.
But I saw lots of silhouettes of people moving very quickly, looking at me.
But those 7 minutes, doesn't it feel much longer?
Oh, it felt very long, but we timed it. Who I was with, we timed it, and it was very short, but it felt like forever. And then we spent the next 3 hours talking about it, talking about life, and
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's kind of like space, concept of time completely gets eliminated.
yeah. There is no concept of time
Yeah.
when you're on it. Yeah,
Which is kind of fascinating to me.
yeah. You lose your first thing that goes is your sense of mobility. Motor functions start to disappear,
Mhm.
and then you're just like, oh well, let me lay back and close my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya, slipping through another dimension.
Slipping through another dimension. All right, Leonard, I have my favorite question of yours to you.
That's it.
Why pizza?
Why pizza?
Yeah, you brought it up a couple times already.
So I was born in Manhattan. I spent some time in the Bronx when I was younger. My grandparents lived there. My family lived there.
Okay.
And I would still visit time to time. And I don't know, it's just so many, you can associate so many memories with it, from childhood. It doesn't matter how rich or poor you are, there's still pizza catering for all those types of people. You can get dollar slice or you get a $20 pie of Neapolitan, well-crafted pizza. It's it's such a nice communal activity, and it's always there for you.
Yeah.
It's always there. Pizza's
And
always
every
there
slice is
to hold
different.
your
You
hand.
never know what you're gonna get.
Every slice is different. You never know what you're gonna
Yeah.
get. And that's a nice one.
Yeah,
It's
never
true.
seen.
It's always an experience going to a new
Yeah.
pizza place, especially if you're in New York and New
Mhm.
Jersey.
You have a favorite pizza?
I love Neapolitan pizza, nice classic margarita. And nothing's better than New York slice too, though.
Then a what slice?
New York slice, just
And,
a classic.
Just a
plain slice,
classic.
Yeah.
Fold or no fold?
It depends on the pizza. If there's bubbles, I try not to fold it because I love bubbles on my pizza.
Enjoy that little crisp bite,
Yeah,
right?
but if I'm walking, I'll fold it.
Yeah, you gotta fold it if
Gotta
you're
fold
walking.
on the
Yeah.
walk.
But sometimes there's really not fully cooked Neapolitan pizzas. They're really flimsy.
Mhm.
So then you got sometimes, dare
New
I
York
say, use a
flop.
fork and knife.
Oh Lord.
You know,
You
No
know,
way.
The truth
sometimes,
is, people.
man, sometimes.
I got you on this, Leonard.
Yeah.
It's sacrilegious to some people, but
I understand.
sometimes you need to use a fork and a knife.
Yeah.
You cut a few
Sometimes
squares.
They're just not stable enough. The base is just not
No.
stable.
Yo, 2 hands fold. I got that.
I don't
I'm
want
eating
greasy
it.
cheese and all my fingers.
It also, I think, reminds me of my childhood. People used to serve you as a kid pizza that was cut up, and sometimes I want.
Yeah,
cut
I
up
remember
pizza,
that.
you
My
know what I mean?
grandpa would get asked the guy to slice a regular slice in two for me to eat it, which was awesome. Yeah, I remember looking at. I was a big fan of baseball when I was younger, and the Yankees.
Mhm.
And I just remember having this big poster of '96 Yankees with like Brian Williams and Derek Jeter and Andy Pettit, Roger Clemens, all that.
You
The
don't
good
watch
old days.
baseball anymore?
Not anymore. I mean, I don't mind going to a nice baseball game every now and again.
Going to the game is different than watching it though.
Yeah,
on TV.
for sure. And, like, I don't keep up with it as much as I used to. Like, I was definitely a big fan when I was younger.
Yeah. When did you think that started to fade away?
When I found skateboarding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How old were you when that started?
I guess it was when like the Tony Hawk series started coming out.
The
Like,
fucking
Tony
best,
Hawk.
man.
Internet.
The best series.
Yeah, because like it's Tony Hawk, I would say, and then
Mhm.
like that was kind of like a nice introduction, and the X Games were kind of coming up. But then the internet was just starting, and like you can like start watching old skate videos from like the 80s and 90s, which resonated a lot for me
Mhm.
being in New Jersey and not having a skate park. So there would always like it was the only sport where I can just go outside in front of my house or anywhere and just use a skateboard. Didn't need a team. I didn't need friends. I just had a skateboard. All I needed was like a curb, a hill, and like a road, and like possibilities were endless.
Yeah.
The fucking
So-
best.
That was like the whole breakthrough with the 80s and 90s street skating, which like I kind of resonated with. 'Cause
Yeah.
it was just like what I had, and I can like relate to it.
Totally, and I can imagine those Tony Hawk games also had a lot of great soundtracks.
Oh yeah. I still listen to some of those songs.
Fantastic
Yeah.
songs. I'm sure that. So, did you think those games and skateboarding kind of introduce you more to different types of music, different types of people? You found your interest in photography, maybe, and videoing people skating. Did that all come together?
Yeah, very
Like-
much so. If you ever watch a video part, like one of the most memorable things is the video of the songs they use for the parts. Especially now, I mean, back then it was probably more a big deal than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like the big thing, was like trying to find like a good song in someone's video
96
part.
Quite Bitter Beings, right?
Yeah, like you never know.
Yeah.
Like there's so many great stuff out there, and you literally learn about new bands that way.
That's cool. I wish I had that outlet of
pre-social
music
media and
growing
stuff
up.
like that. Yeah, that
That's-
was for sure.
Are you going to skate parks today?
Yeah, I went to 1005. Was it yesterday?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I
I'm
sprained my
happy that
ankle
park
a
still
couple
works.
months ago, so I haven't been able to skate too much. But
Have they changed the park here at all?
not recently, no. But New York, they've been popping up skate parks like left and right. I was pretty blown away. They're getting like
Really?
a lot of government budgets and stuff, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, there's definitely been a huge surge in the past, like I would say 10 years in skate parks around the world.
Do you still shoot at parks often, or more often you think you're looking? I went on
Photographing wise?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no, I really don't photograph skateboarding too much. I
Mhm.
mean, maybe the culture more around it, but not really.
You like the fashion that comes from it?
Yeah, I don't know. Something about clothes just kind of like draws me to it, especially like women's clothes
Mhm.
specifically. Like I like wearing men's clothes, but I prefer photographing women more. I don't know. I think it just says a lot about a person, like what they wear. It's kinda
Meanwhile,
like just
myself
that
and
point.
Ben are in sweats and relaxed clothes.
Yeah.
You come in looking fresh as fuck.
Leonard came in. He had this nice overcoat. He's got
Yeah.
this great little
3/4 coat, got a button down on,
It's
looks
fun. I don't
classy.
know. It's like wearing like a
hair's
uniform
done.
every day. You never know what
Mm.
like or a costume.
No,
Yes.
you're
It's like
absolutely
a new
right.
costume every day.
That's how you
Why does
see
Halloween
it.
have to be one day a year?
Agreed. I'm
question.
with you.
Yeah.
So mostly women have. I don't even want to say they have more options, but I feel like they
do.
have
They
more.
definitely do, and there's
Okay.
definitely more like time and money focused on women because they're more consumers
Mm-hmm.
when it
Mhm.
comes to clothing and stuff like that than men. I mean, like I'll wear the same jeans for like 4 or 5 years at
Right.
least.
Easy.
Unless they like really like tear apart or like
You're breaking
Still
them
like-
in still, dude.
yeah, it's kind of like it molds your body a little bit.
Exactly.
Gives it character.
So when was the first time you started photographing women, specifically for fashion?
I'd say towards the end of high school and like right before I started going to art school. So I was always like interested in photography, but like it's not your parents are gonna buy you a camera.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I met Justin towards the end of high school, middle of high school, and he had this really old Hasselblad camera, and that just like drove me wild. I was like just looking through the viewfinder and stuff like that. It was just like I don't know. I have like a taste for old things and stuff like that. So
Cool.
just the way things used to be. And then after that, I took a photography class in high school, and then watched this Richard Avedon documentary, who was a fashion photographer. started off in the 60s and then, had a successful career until like, I think he died in early 2000s, I want to say, maybe late 90s. And then like, it was just like, all I have to do is try to take one picture like him, and like, I'll be set, I'll be good to go.
Do you work for a firm right now? Or,
I used to work for a photographer. Now I'm just freelancing around, stuff like that. And,
Yeah, I saw your site.
Yeah.
It's cool, man.
I do Fashion Week and work with bloggers and try to work with companies and stuff.
Hey guys, we're going to take a quick little break here and give a big thank you to our sponsor, the Blockchain Academy. They let us use their studio and their equipment, and they teach you all about blockchain technology. You can check them out online. They have world-class instructors, and they're going to teach you how to use blockchain. So we just want to say thank you to them again, and let's get back to the show.
Now, you might not have the answer to this question, but I'm just out of my own curiosity. Have you seen the influence that, like, obviously this would be an overtime sort of thing, but can you pinpoint fashion that David Bowie has changed on his own?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's tons of like documentaries and stuff on just his clothing and specifically.
Because I know, I mean, I follow just most of his stuff, but I don't know about fashion like as an art.
I like to look at fashion from more of like a real day-to-day perspective. There is a whole other genre of like artistic, like using it as like a sculpture almost or an art form, which is how Fashion Week used to kind of be. It was much more couture and stuff, versus now they're trying to make it more like ready to wear, ready to buy type situations, which is
like
kind of
Zara.
nice. Yeah, Zara, Tommy Hilfiger, I think like kind of like started it off.
Like as opposed to like those outlandish like art pieces.
Yeah, that's what it
people were
used to be
wearing.
like. And
Gotcha.
it's definitely not like that anymore. People still, dress up and stuff like that, but it's more like something a bit more realistic. I mean, it's definitely something
like practical wear, sort of.
More practical, which is what I kind of like
Cool.
personally.
Almost more urban too.
More urban or just like street style, something like you can actually wear versus like, what Lady Gaga wears, where it's just like, you're lucky to make it past the red carpet and like, without like falling over.
But the thing is, you go to New York City and you still see some people getting away with those.
Oh yeah, that's what I love
outfits.
though. Like you never know where you're gonna find. I mean,
great.
like possibilities are endless. People always like, I don't know, trying something new, jazzing it up.
Are you shooting anything besides fashion?
Yeah. I mean, I always like go out to like national parks and stuff like that. Lately I've been photographing myself actually, because I've
Looking
noticed.
fly.
Yeah, thank you. I just like people on Instagram seem to like it way more than anything else I post.
People like other people being vain. Apparently,
Yeah.
I've noticed
guess
it
that's a
too.
thing.
Well, they
now.
follow you. They want to see pictures of you.
Which I
guess.
understand. It's just I would never want it to be that way, but it's
the
nice
way our
because it's
culture
just
is.
the way it happens.
Yeah.
I'm
personally
do something new.
really big into landscape photography.
Yeah, like I
don't
love
have-
going to like national parks and
Something
stuff like
a
that.
beautiful scenic view where,
Uh-huh.
of course, your eyes are picking up like 68, 64 megapixels. And
Yeah.
the camera doesn't do that, so you try
Yeah.
and capture it and put it for everyone
Yeah,
else to
it's
see. and
never
you're like,
quite the same, but
No.
sometimes sometimes you get a winner.
yeah.
Now,
Sometimes you get the
this
winner.
time of the season's actually like the best when you're like fall into winter and you have so many different
yeah.
colors and you get good sunsets in the middle of the day. You know what I mean? It's fucking great golden hours.
Yeah, I was just at Bear Mountain. It was perfect.
Oh, it's
Yes.
nice up there. It's
and
real
then,
nice
And then
up
I
there.
just went to Storm King. What was it? 2 days ago. It
Oh,
was
awesome.
perfect.
Oh my god.
Absolutely
people who
perfect.
don't
Which
know,
would
it's
be a
a
great
big,
place to take acid. But you would have to do it on a weekday, or like it'd even be better if you can rent it out. I don't know if that's a possible thing, but
I was just gonna say Storm King is a big art installation. It's like a field with all these huge sculptures in it, and acres. Oh my
It's
god,
massive.
I would agree. That sounds like somewhere cool to take
Yeah.
acid.
Was there was a lot of the trees there right now
they're
changing, or
perfect.
was it just starting?
Some of them were starting. Some of them were like if I'm not mistaken, I think the cover of Big Fish.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that cover? Of
Yeah,
the
I
tree?
love that
I'm
movie.
pretty sure that was photographed there, and that tree doesn't have any leaves on it right now, so it's kind of cool because it has that look. And yeah, some of the trees were just changing. Some of them were like perfect at peak and stuff like that. Like I would definitely try to make it there within the next week or something like that, until it all goes away. But it was absolutely perfect. So yeah, it really depends like where you are, I guess. But it was perfect when I went.
I asked because I was at Bear Mountain last weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and the leaves were kind of just starting to
Just
change.
starting?
Some of them here, some of them there.
Yeah, it was a
Went on
couple
little
days ago,
hike.
and it was
Yeah.
perfect.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, should have gone on a hike this
You
morning.
still, I think there's still time. I mean, I don't know how stormy it's gonna be out right now, but
Today was fucked.
yeah.
Man. Jesus Christ.
Past week or two has been absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Last night was even like pretty nice too. It was like I thought it was gonna be a little chilly, but it was like pretty warm.
No, yeah. But aside from the weather, I was wondering, you say you like old stuff, nostalgia, and just like the way like you caught Justin's camera and you thought that was interesting. Do you like collect any kind of old stuff, antiques, or
Yeah,
maybe
a little too
memorabilia?
much. It's getting
A little too
borderline
much.
hoarding.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Don't be
what
a
kind of
hoarder.
stuff?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I'm pretty good with it. There's people like that just set up piles. Like I want to put my stuff on display, which is nice. But like I'm kind of obsessed with it. I don't know what it is, but like you just like you never know what you're gonna find, and it's just like whatever catches your eye. So it's anything from like old military to like old photographs, paintings, posters, like movie posters and stuff like that. Like.
Are you finding this stuff in antique stores, or are you just rummaging through old
Antique
shops?
stores is more like top dollar. I like to just kind of like American Pickers, where you just like go out and either flea markets, estate sales, garage sales, yard sales.
And
any
you
type of
look for like
sale.
a certain era or something?
It doesn't have to be a certain era. I mean, I definitely prefer anything like older than 80s, obviously.
Just
but,
like pre-digital?
Specifically, I find a lot of stuff usually from 50s or 40s or usually turn of century type stuff. But if I can find something older, then like all aboard. Definitely not too big on like Renaissance stuff. Definitely like industrial turn of the century. World War II is really cool.
Yeah, those are cool eras.
Yeah.
I know I stopped into an antique shop in North Carolina, and it's just a trip going into the, like, I think that was like the first one I'd ever properly been in and like looked around, and it's just cool looking at shit like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
you just like a random array of like oddities.
Yeah.
Like,
And then it's not stuff that you see today anymore. Everything is
Yeah.
modernized,
That's the
square,
thing.
blocky.
yeah.
old like radios and stuff like that. They're just like nicely designed. and stuff
Radios,
that.
like even like non-functional old cameras are very cool. Just like
Yeah.
the way they're built is
Yeah,
very
those are
interesting.
collectible.
I really like that kind of stuff too. Not like collecting, but I find it very interesting as well.
Mhm.
What's your favorite piece that you have?
Oh man, favorite piece. It's hard to say.
Give me 3 if you can.
So I got a bunch of old records, but like those are kind of just like I love collecting old records, but I have
Feel you there.
Yeah.
a really old movie poster that I got. It was a movie about the Zeppelin graph.
Okay.
Huge poster. It's got to be like 5 feet wide by like 2 feet high, something like that.
You
Just
have it
a
framed?
Zeppelin across, and it's got like a burning Zeppelin on the side.
Like
Nice.
the first album cover sort of thing? Or
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But it was more about like
the
like,
actual
catastrophe.
Zeppelin?
Yeah, the catastrophe.
Gotcha.
That happened in New Jersey. I just got this old veterans military souvenir coat from France. It was like dated 57, 59.
Is that the one I've seen you wear before?
Yeah, it was on
or do you have a
Instagram.
couple of coats?
I have that one. That's the only one I find. It's kind of hard finding vintage clothing, actually. Or maybe I'm just too lazy to look through those types of things. But, like, yeah. After that, what's another one's really good? Oh, yeah, I just found these old subway, New York City subway. On the turnstiles, no, not on the turnstiles. On the trains, it would tell you where the destination was, what train it was, and I got one of those. I don't know what they're called off the top of my head.
Like a subway poster, you're saying?
It's not a subway poster. It's what they would put to tell you where, like, the F train going to
I got you.
bound
Like
F train or something like that. And
Almost
it
like
was hand painted. They're all hand painted
Really?
on this like
The,
very
like the
durable
map,
fabric.
you mean?
It's not a map. It's just it tells you what train it is, like F train,
Right.
like the letter F.
Yeah.
And tells you like what direction it's going. So like
F like
Broadway,
north or-
going down
Gotcha.
Broadway or something like that. And yeah, I got a couple of those. I got an old circus poster. It was really nice, and it just says the date and it's all I think it's silkscreen or something, or wood block. It might be even
Really?
wood block. It's just red and white.
I know they reprint them all the time, but have you found any
No,
original?
this is original.
No, not of that. I was gonna ask if you found of any original of those old concert posters that they used to sell. Like, you know, you see those prints of like Floyd and like freaking
Concert
Fleetwood Mac
posters
together.
are kind of hard to find. Come across a lot of World War I posters that are really, really rare.
Wow.
And I've seen 2 that were in mint condition, and the other ones that were glued on wood block, or just on a wood, and those are pretty deteriorated, but they still look good. But they're very valuable.
I just want to smell those, man. I'm not even kidding. A century-old fucking piece.
They definitely
of,
have a distinct smell to them, for sure.
I can
like
imagine.
old records.
Yeah, I love that
A
smell,
musty
man.
smell.
I like going through my records. Just,
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I'm not kidding. You've never had that old comic book smell either. You know, when you pull out your books. You know,
It's not something I
favorite
I
smell.
go to for smells.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I promise I'm not the only person on earth that enjoys that.
You're definitely
smell. I
not.
guarantee you that.
So I collect a lot of like tickets. I have movie tickets from
Yeah.
years ago.
Okay.
If I go travel somewhere, I have like the subway passes from there or airplane tickets. Do you have any smaller items? Because all these things that you're saying you've
I
collected
do.
are,
I got a lot
are
of
large.
small items. What do I have? I have old postcards that are really cool. I like there's like a lot of tattoo designs are actually based off like really old postcards and stuff.
Like Sailor Jerry tattoos.
Silly Jerry stuff, like just very like traditional Americana tattoos, like old Indian heads and stuff like that.
Okay.
Mhm. I very much see that that's like your specific style. It
Yeah.
seems like for those stick and poke tattoos, right?
I collect like old. I got like an old cigarette carton case. It's got to be like early 1800s, something like that.
No way.
Yeah,
That's
I collect
awesome.
like old paper, like from Harper's Weekly, which was a old journal from the 1800s, and like a couple cutouts. Collect the old magazines too, fashion magazines.
Is any of this resellable, or is it
Very,
not
they're
intended
actually
to?
like pretty profitable.
Mhm.
I would, but like I would have a hard time selling some of these things.
all
but,
of
like,
it very.
I'm sure there'll
sentimental.
be a point in time where like I don't mind letting them go, but like I like, it's kind of like being a historian in a sense. 'Cause,
Sure.
Like a lot of people don't want to like it's obviously not museum quality or anything like
Right.
that, but there's something like just like feels wrong about throwing it away, and like I like to get them framed and stuff like that, and eventually resell them. They're definitely like very like profitable for sure. It's definitely a profitable industry
That's awesome.
if you do it right.
Right, because you can find stuff at garage sales, yard
Like
sales
next
for
to
like
nothing.
$5. Yeah.
Next to nothing.
Sell it for a couple thousand.
Like I found an old lithograph at
What's a lithograph again?
it's a type of printing.
Mhm.
It's a type of printing format
Okay.
that they used to use 100 years ago, and it was a commemoration of factory workers for the past like 100 years. It was like 1784 to 1884. It's like $3. It was framed and everything. It was dirty,
Sure.
but like if you clean it off and stuff,
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
you're good to go.
Get those bargain bin finds.
Yeah.
Now, any comedians in your life that I know you were mentioning comedy earlier
Yeah,
as something
definitely,
that's big in your life?
definitely a huge help in my life. It's just like nice to listen to like uplifting things, but
Oh yeah.
specifically like I mean Dave Chappelle I really like old classic ones
The
like
2.5
Richard Pryor.
seasons he got at Chappelle Show were the
Yeah.
fucking some of the best television
Yeah, I mean
comedy ever.
I just even like listening to his interviews are just like so.
He's
interesting.
naturally very funny and an interesting guy.
I like listening to Russell Brand's interviews over his stand up. And this is crazy.
Over his stand-up?
Yeah, his stand up's a little too like a little too energizing. Maybe I don't know what it is. It's
I
just
think
like
that's just him in general.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a little bit.
Where like when I listen to him talk, it's like a nice intellectual conversation.
He is.
very intellectual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he just likes pushing, or at least like quote unquote trying to push the envelope a little bit in his live shows. But
Yeah, for
I've seen his interviews too. I agree with you. He's
It's
a
more like he's
solid
definitely
dude.
trying to entertain more,
Yeah,
which is nice. I mean, I understand.
it's his job.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I recently-
yeah, stand-up comedy.
Oh,
And,
just
like,
to
movies.
keep it on Russell Brand for a moment, I
Uh-huh.
recently listened to an interview with him and Joe Rogan. And
Okay, what was it? The newer one?
it was the newer one,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, I
And
saw
he
that.
I was surprised that I've kind of had this idea of him as always a very spiritual person, but he had recently, and I say recently, like I don't know the time scale,
Uh-huh.
but he had done a 12-step program. He recently wrote a book where he designed and like analyzed his own 12-step program and how it helped him, stay away from drugs and recovery in general, from whatever it is that he was having problems with or what he foresaw as problems. But he was very, as you say, energized towards like speaking about God, which I didn't expect from him. It came as a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I remember like maybe it was his first interview with Joe Rogan or something like that. He was like, that was like kind of what gave me a flip of the switch of what God could possibly be. Because he was saying that, and like I remember, because I used to be kind of pretty atheist, and until like I heard him say like, yeah, I believe in God, I was like, oh man, I kind of like backed off for a second.
You were like, wait a second.
Right.
And then he explained it, and it was just like he didn't see it as a specific type of being. He saw it as like a form of energy, which I thought was like kind of like an eye-opening way of looking at it. And he's definitely very spiritual. I mean, he can list a number of types of people like Joseph Campbell and stuff like that. He just goes on and on and on. And I was just like, thought it was really interesting to hear like a different perspective of like what God could be. You know what I mean?
Because we're so used to that traditional idea of this is
beard.
God. He is a superpower being,
Yeah.
and he created the earth, the heavens, the people. Blah 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 blah
For
blah.
you guys, I see a big piece of spaghetti and 2 meatballs, and those meatballs have eyes.
Well, that's what I love about the Indian philosophy is they think everything is God. It's just energy. You know what I mean? Which
That's
would
the
make
universe
sense.
itself.
That's cool. Yeah.
Because they always, if you look at Judaism or anywhere
Uh-huh.
else, they always say it's like it's not anything. It's just like it's not male or female. It's not
Right.
positive or negative, which is what energy is. You know,
Sure.
it's creation of the universe, energy.
Yeah. What we're all made of, what everything else is.
I think that when you take psychedelic drugs, you definitely get to experience a little bit about what that energized or energy God is.
Yeah, it's
It takes you away from the philosophical standpoint of God was created the heavens, the earth, and it's more of God is all around us right now. If we were to say we believe in God,
there's just the infinite limitations. You know what I mean? So it's like that's what's cool about psychedelics like DMT and LSD and stuff like that. Is like it just breaks down any form of limitations that our mind knows. You know, because we only scientists only look at things as like a purely physical basis. Like whatever I see, that's reality. That's proof that it exists.
or can be explained through experiments.
Yeah, but like 200 years ago, no one could see X-rays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're still finding out more and more things as life goes on about what exists.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing what the rest of the spectrum of reality is as far as we know it.
I mean, color, the spectrum of color is like, 0.1% of what radio waves or waves that exist.
Right.
It's a very small fraction
of what
and
we
look
can
how
see.
much exists that
Yeah.
we can see. You know what I mean? Think about how much is out there in between.
I'm trying to take the drug to show me the new colors, right?
New colors,
That's
yeah.
what we want.
Find a new color.
But they're not
Finding some
even
new
colors, right? Because the visual colors that we perceive is all
Yeah.
visual. These other radio waves, X-rays, ultraviolet.
Yeah.
They are not even color. They're just waves, and how we perceive them is different.
Well, the whole thing is our eyes just can't process
Yeah.
those waves. So imagine if we had eyes that
Could process
That's what I'm saying.
to see maybe they are
Or
colors.
maybe
I don't know.
you know what else could be a thing? I'm fucking talking out of my ass right now, but let's say maybe in the future they find out we can cybernetically implant ourselves to be able to process more types of wavelengths, so your eyes can actually see more of reality.
I'm sure that's a thing in the pretty near future. You know
Probably,
what mean?
I can
With
imagine
Google,
that,
with
yeah.
Google eyeglasses or whatever.
Some
Whatever.
shit,
Google
and then
Glass.
it's
Windows
eventually
glasses.
just all going to be in your body.
Windows made one now.
the Windows goggles or something where it's like
there's
Google
like a
Glass
one.
you're talking
Google
about?
Google
Glass,
Glass. Their Windows has this thing where
Windows
it's
has
like
one now.
it's glasses as well, and you look at a flat surface like a wall, a white wall,
Uh-huh.
and it projects like something through the glasses, not literally onto the wall.
Yeah.
You can only see it if you're wearing the goggles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
The technology has been taking huge leaps and bounds, and
Yeah.
I mean, is constantly advancing, which I feel like, Blade Runner came out recently.
Yeah.
All these sci-fi movies that we
Fantastic.
see, they are the stages of
Have you seen the new one?
Oh, absolutely. People
I watched
look
the
at
old
that.
one, but I'm waiting to see the new one. I want to go to.
Oh, you
Dude,
have to
see it in
Lincoln
theaters.
Square. Have you been to Lincoln Square movie theater?
No.
AMC?
No.
Okay, so they have the largest IMAX
No
screen
way.
in the. It's not the world or the country, maybe.
yeah.
It's like 2 stories high.
Where is this?
It's in Lincoln Center, where the Opera House is.
Yes.
Stuff like that. It's like right up the road.
Yeah, dude. 100% see it in theater before its theatrical run runs out because. First of all, the sound production of that movie was unfucking believable. It's just
Hans Zimmer. Zimmerman?
Yeah,
Zimmerman
it was Zimmer. You got it. And he just for that alone, it's worth watching in a theater and not at home. And the movie is directed beautifully.
Yeah.
And did you like the first movie?
I did.
Okay.
Very much so, especially
Cool.
the soundtrack.
Yes.
Amazing.
So it's same sort of style. They kept it going. I forgot who the original composer of the first Blade Runner soundtrack was. It was some famous German guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same. They let the scenes breathe. It's not a fast cut 2017 normal film. It's a
nice.
proper sci-fi movie and a proper sequel. If not, I hate to even say it, but it might be even a little better than the first Blade Runner.
Really?
It really
Okay.
is. Yeah.
Definitely have to watch it now.
I've
heard good things, so
it delivers.
could be right.
It's not like a fast-paced action movie, and I literally got out of the theater and I was shaking with adrenaline. Like I couldn't fall asleep. I saw it at night. It was crazy. So high praise for that film.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of our technologies are coming from these sci-fi movies. I mean, cell phones like Star Trek,
Inspiration's got to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah, definitely. They probably
Especially with
took
like
drugs.
Star Wars and stuff like that, which is remarkable because
Last
you have to
Jedi
look
in
at
1
like
month.
he was looking at World War II and like Romans and stuff like that to get all these ideas. George Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also ripped off some other. I forgot. It was a Japanese film about samurai. That was. He took a lot of. People say he ripped them off. Whatever you can call it. Inspiration.
I mean, ripping off inspiration is pretty much the same thing. as
Same
far as I'm
shit.
concerned.
He also liked those Flash Gordon serials. You know that Star Wars like title opening screen. That's like a Flash Gordon thing originally.
Okay.
Yeah. So. That was like how Lucas. I've read a lot about George Lucas recently, and apparently he needed a lot of his ideas reined in back in the day, and that's kind of why we got the prequels later on.
Apparently, on his ranch, what was the name of the ranch?
I think it's just Lucas Ranch or something.
Lucas Ranch,
yeah.
something like that. He has a whole library in his place, and he has like all these assistants looking there, marking down
Skywalker Ranch
source material and stuff like that just for him, like all day, every day.
Say that again. Looking for source material.
Yeah, just like inspiration or whatever for his new movies. Just like has people all day, every day working in his libraries. It's like
I know right now that because before they sold Star Wars to Disney, there were, if you know what canon means. Canon is like a canon of a story means what exists in that version of that story. So let's say I made a Star Wars movie and a Star Wars book. The Star Wars book, I say Han Solo loves bananas.
Right.
But in the movies, it's never stated that he loves bananas, and I claim that the book is canon. It means that in that movie, it still means that his character likes bananas. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's say he dies in the book and he's not dead in the film, then the book's not canon. That's like
there's still like if you watch the Star Wars movies, it still says Lucasfilms, right?
Yeah, it's
so
still.
does his like people on his ranch or whatever like, still work on the movies?
Here's where I'm getting to. So the ranch, before they sold it to Disney, they had 6 layers of canon, which is ridiculous.
Wow.
They had like the movie layers, the book layers, the video game layers, and what was more important and what meant what. And now after they had sold it to Disney, they've deleted like all the books and all the video games are called Legends now, so it's not considered canon in the Star Wars universe. And I think the guy who's in charge of it is called Pablo Hidalgo is his name, and he works on the Star Wars Rebels show. I could be wrong. And he's kind of the lore master of Star Wars now. So there are books and movies and shows that come out now, and they're all considered the same Star Wars canon. And actually, the whole point was to clean it up because there were a bunch of different artists and writers writing different kinds of stories about Star
like
Wars.
Cartoons, shows, movies, like off-brand things.
All sorts. So they now have one consistent story since Disney had picked up. And I'm sure there are, besides, I know Pablo is like the head of it, but I'm sure he has some crazy team that's checking all the lore and sources. And what they do is they drag stuff from like like they just brought this character Thrawn, who was this crazy like Sun Tzu Art of War sort of general that comes after the 6th movie in like the trilogy, like Return of the Jedi in the books, and they brought him back now. So like he was the old canon, but now they put him in the new canon. So they sprinkle shit like that into the
Very cool.
stories, which is
You were
cool.
just at Comic-Con, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
me and
we
Kyle
went
went
together.
You guys both went?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you guys dress up?
We
Nah.
got our
No.
tickets last second. We didn't
Okay.
kind of
Day of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People go all out for those things.
They
but-
did. There was a lot of people dressed up really,
I'm
really
sure.
nice.
Dude,
yeah.
it was so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Just people like me. I was telling Kyle we could have just stood in one spot and just watched.
Yeah,
people
here like
all
there's
day.
always something going on in like short increments, right?
Yeah.
Like there's not like whole long seminars or anything like that. There's just like little pop-up things, right?
Yeah, it's cool. There are panels there's like a lot of floors. There's panels downstairs,
Right.
and then there's like the main floor where there's just a shitload of exhibits and like all the people. We called it the sweat box.
Yeah.
'cause
What that's up,
the
man.
sweat zone, sweat city.
Yeah,
We were
and,
just
and apparently
fucking-
that's because Ben enlightened me that like nerdy guys are called like sweaties.
I didn't
something.
make that up. I give John Schnepp credit for that from Collider Movie Talk.
Yeah, they call
They're a
them
complex
sweaties.
company.
Oh.
Yeah, and he calls nerds sweaties, and I love that fucking term. I'm just like,
That's a good
yeah, I'm
one.
getting real sweaty right now on the mic. The whole Star Wars thing I was getting real sweaty. So,
What was the best costume you guys saw?
that's a good question.
There was a whole bunch of them that were really, really
That's
gorgeous.
not, I'm sure.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't really have a favorite. I was just enjoying the environment. People were definitely, some people go all out, and then you see that some people are kind of just last minute like us, like didn't dress up or dressed up.
Just want to see.
Yeah, but very like put together, like whatever. I don't really care. Sure, this is this.
Mm.
And you can kind of
which is cool.
yeah, it is.
How
There's
much are
peop-
tickets?
We got them for about $54 because we bought them from a friend whose company had given it to him
I
for that
don't know.
price.
Yeah, I think it's like triple that for the original
Yeah.
price.
Really?
But
But
it's
for
for
like
all
a
3
3-day,
days.
yeah.
There was a
Yeah.
lot of
3
people that were hiring photographers to shoot them there. They were at Comic-Con, so I'm surprised that you weren't there shooting someone else.
Shut up, man. Damn.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, next year we should go, and you should definitely bring your camera because
Yeah,
it's
man. I'm sure there's
fucking.
a lot of wild. I've always wanted to see the real Peter Griffin. I watched that YouTube thing.
Oh, that guy that
Yeah,
acts like
I know
Peter
you're
Griffin.
talking
For real
about.
life? Yeah, dude, he's great.
Yeah.
He's like spot on.
Yeah.
He's fucking hilarious. I agree. All right.
He needs to find a Lois, right?
Definitely. I'm sure you can find one there. If there's anywhere you can find one, it'd be there.
Yeah, at a
Do they have
Comic-Con.
other Comic Cons in like other cities?
They're
Oh,
All
definitely.
All over, right? That's
All
what I
over.
thought.
There's Comic Cons. There's like Wizard Cons. There's Video Cons. There's Brony Cons.
So what is the definition of cosplay?
Cosplay is
Is that
just
different than Comic Con?
yeah. So
Comic Con is a convention.
Yeah.
What is
Yes.
cosplay? Cosplay is like dressing
Cosplay
up.
is
Cosplay just
dressing
means
up.
dressing
Yeah.
up, yeah.
Cosplay is, becoming a character from a fictional story and
and it can be
assuming
any
their
sort
role.
of
Yeah.
fictional story. It
It could
doesn't
be
have to
from a book. It could be from a video game,
movie,
a show,
whatever,
movie.
show.
You step into the persona of that character.
Do they have a lot of Rick and Morty stuff out there?
Yeah,
Oh,
dude, we saw
man.
plenty. We saw Pickle Rick walking
Oh
around.
my god,
which was
everyone,
amazing.
man. People are
Pickle
getting
Rick,
tattooed all
Dude,
all
it's
day.
huge right now. People
Oh.
love.
Have you had
Rick.
Rick and Morty requests? for
I've
tattoos?
done a Rick tattoo.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
Full body or just head?
Waist up, it was at a flask with Rick's body.
Yeah.
Flask. Yeah.
That's fucking great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
Great
if
characters, man. It's just like
Yeah.
Dude, that is some of the best writing. I think. I mean, it's.
Yeah,
I think by far
honestly.
the best animated show on TV right now, for
hands
sure.
down,
Yeah,
in a while.
I can't think what's contending with it. I mean,
Have you been excited for the Evil Morty? I mean, I was
Evil
calling
Morty,
it out.
that's right.
Yeah.
I was calling it out when season 3 first came out. I was like, "Where's that Evil Morty again?"
Mhm.
sorry
And then
to
they
break
gave
your
us a
balls, Kyle.
Whole,
The cop Morty was really funny too, though.
yeah, the comedy so badass.
Cop Morty was
Oh, God, another
hilarious.
day
dude.
on the job.
He's seen a lot of shit. That was one of the funnier things. So Evil Morty's not coming back for the record, Kyle. and
Not
Really,
ever
Leonard.
again.
I don't know if not ever again. They might bring him back in season 4, but he was supposed to be. They were supposed to close that plot line during season 3 of Rick and Morty. There were supposed to be 14 episodes, I think, and their time or some shit got cut, which I don't understand because it's
Yeah, how many episodes
Clearly-
they do? Like 12
They do
episodes?
10.
it was 10 episodes a season. It's the most fucking popular animated show on TV.
And they were late to releasing it.
So I don't understand why they had budget or time constraints, but they were originally you know how the last episode it felt like they finalized it a little too quick almost. It wasn't a super satisfying ending, but they were all back to the family and it was going to be reserialized at
Yeah,
the end.
spoiler alert. Fuck.
All right, dude, it's
Did
been
you not see
months
it?
since the episode came out.
No, I'm just saying for anyone that's listening.
Whatever,
Yeah.
get over it.
Snooze,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
You
sorry, I
snooze, you lose.
apologize.
Thank you, Leonard. So anyways, we're supposed to close the Evil Rick story, Evil Morty and
It just
storyline.
became, spoiler alert, just became the president of that entire city. So I don't see how they can just close that.
They didn't mean to do that. Like, there was more supposed to be written that they had to cut out. Like, that wasn't the end
I
of
hope
it.
they bring it back next season.
I do too.
Okay.
I think that the first few episodes of next season are gonna be that. That's what my prediction
Honestly,
is.
they do such a free for all.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like you never know what you're gonna get.
So bloody too. I love it.
But man, I'm like, it annoys me how long it's gonna be. Just thinking about it is just like, oh.
Same thing with a lot of those shows that become popular. You know, it's
do you like, as somebody who I'm sure respects animation, is there an art show? Is there like a cartoon that stands out to you as like one of the better drawn or produced, you know, or
like,
looking?
Rick and Morty, man, has been like really blew my mind because I was always like kind of skeptical. I mean, like, you know, I've grown up in the 90s or whatever. Like,
I thought we had the golden age.
we definitely did.
Yeah.
We definitely did. And like, there's definitely like a whole new genre. I mean, Chowder was good.
You know, I didn't see Chowder so much, but I know
watched
what
a
you're
little
talking
bit of Chowder,
about.
and that was a good, funny show. But I know Adventure Time is really popular.
Mhm.
I don't watch too much of it, but I like it. I think it's like nice character design and stuff like that. But I guess I'm not that huge of a fan that tries to watch a little bit of everything. I mean, if something's good, and like I'll stick to it.
Like, you can't beat those Ren and Stimpy close-ups, you know what I mean?
Our Real Monsters, Angry Beavers.
Oh,
like,
my God, dude, that
Hell
is-
yeah, Angry Birds.
Our Real Monsters was great. I mean, dude, they wouldn't have a character design in a kids show where a character is carrying his eyeballs around.
know,
You
I
know,
know.
like that is not something that
Yeah.
we would get today. Which fucking is great.
Yeah.
It was absolutely great. Batman the Animated Series, you know what I mean? That was got a lot of good stuff back then.
I personally liked Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond, it was
Yeah.
cool. So I think that was 99.
Terry McGinnis.
Yeah.
So badass. That would be the one role that I would wish upon myself. Like, I could somehow get that. I hope they don't make a movie anytime soon.
They're always
That
make
way.
remakes of something, you know?
Yeah.
Hollywood's always trying to milk a
Kyle
juice they can get.
Nielsen
No, Terry McGinnis.
as Terry McGinnis. That's where we're going.
That would be amazing.
All right. Do you want to do the outro, Kyle?
Sure, yeah. So first of all, thank you so much, Leonard, for coming on the podcast and sharing your time and story with us. I really appreciate you doing that.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Leonard.
Would you like to give any plugs for how people can reach out to you for maybe some photography, or they reach out to you for tattoo designs? You know, give yourself
definitely.
a plug right here.
I would say the best way right now would probably be through Instagram, which is at DefLeonard, DefLeonard, which is my personal page for photography mostly, and for tattooing is Cat Studios, KATS Studios. Studios.
As a plug for Instagram.
Yeah.
All right, very cool. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us for another episode on the Disconnection Podcast, where we aim to inform, inspire, and close the disconnections in your lives. We'd like to thank our guest today, again, Leonard, for coming on. Thank you so much and giving us a unique perspective on a range of topics. Please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes and YouTube. My name is Kyle.
I've been Ben.
And we'll catch you on the next episode of Disconnection.